Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of unpacking the Daily Bugle. Today we are going to be going over the different Easter eggs all over the place. And if you guys haven't seen part 1 yet, then I suggest you guys go back. But you don't have to. If you guys just want to look at all the different Easter eggs in here, then that's totally fine. So let's get started. Alright, first thing we're going to do is start off at ground level and around the front. For today, I'm going to take off Sandman, and I'm going to move the cabbie to the side. But before we do anything, there is something that I have to point out about the cabbie. The license plate, AFA0015, is actually a nod to the very first Spider-Man comic, Spider-Man 1. And yeah, that's just something kind of cool that I wanted to point out. That's Easter egg number 1. Alright, now we're going to move over to the newsstand. Now, here in the newsstand, it has newsstand, comics, magazines, postcards. But what's weird is that there isn't any comics in there. But we'll fix that when we get to my upgrading the Daily Bugle part 3 about it. But while we're in there, there's just some postcards in there. But then here's the biggie. There's the Business Fisk magazine, and Fisk is a nod to Kingpin, and that's actually our first look at a Lego Kingpin, which I'm really hoping that maybe they'll make in a future Daredevil or Spider-Man set. That would be super cool if they did do that. But anyway, on to the next part of it. If we go around this way, then in the back, we will have actually a few Easter eggs. I'm going to do the entirety of the back just right now. So over here on the back, we have this web right here, and inside of it, there's actually a little backpack, and that's actually a nod to the old Spider-Man PS4 video game, which I actually haven't played, but maybe I'll do like a if I ever get it, maybe I'll do like a walkthrough of it someday. But for right now, all we really have is this, and that's a big nod to the Spider-Man PS4 video game. Now I'm just gonna put it back in there, and then close up the thing. And then over here on the door, we have an exit do not block thing. And then I'm going to go over the first thing, which is this. It's Green Goblin graffiti from the Goblin Nation Spider-Man comics, and that's from the Superior Spider-Man. Too bad we haven't gotten a Lego Superior Spider-Man, but maybe someday we will. That would be cool if we did. Then over here we have an Eddie Was Here, which is a nod to Eddie Brock. One last thing that I wanted to point out, they have the nod to Eddie Brock right here. They have the trash cans right here, and people are starting to think that that's a nod to in the Tobey Maguire line of films. It's when J. Jonah Jameson says, "Eddie, you're trash." So that's a little nod right there. And then up here we have a Just the Facts with J. Jonah Jameson billboard, and that's a nod to the Spider-Man PS4 video game again. And then that pretty much covers the back, and that's pretty much all we have to offer for the back. Now onto the side, there's nothing really to no really nods on the side, but one thing that I wanted to show you guys is they have these axle ports like right here, so if you're building a Lego city, that'll be super useful. They also have it on the back as well, but I'm not going to point to that right now. So that pretty much covers the sidewalk part. Oh, one last thing. See this little rat right here? This is no ordinary rat. This is the rat that saved the universe. Well, half of it anyways. This is supposedly the rat from Endgame that stumbled over the panel and brought back Scott Lang, who found Iron Man and saved the other half of the universe. Moving back out, we're gonna go to the front right here. Up here on the TVs, we have Just the Facts with J. Jonah Jameson, Clone Epidemic Out of Control, Is Spider-Man to Blame? And that's a little nod to the comic books. And you have Scarlet Spider there, who's actually a clone. Professor Miles Warren, who who is the jackal, and then Dr. Kurt Connors, who we all know is the lizard. And then over here we have breaking. Villains promise to stop being bad guys. Can they be trusted? No. And then over here, vote Osborn for mayor, which is another nod to the comics at one point when Norman Osborn tried to become the mayor. And as we all know, Norman Osborn is the Green Goblin. Alright, that pretty much wraps up this frontal area. Now we're going to get into the inside of the first level. Inside here we have a panic as garlic supplies hit all-time low, and if you look up in that corner right there, you'll actually see a nod to Morbius. Hint, hint, we're going to do something about Morbius in part 3. And then down here, you can see the different newspapers. One of them says, new building for New York's #1 newspaper. Sorry, the light's kind of bad in there because I can't really get that much light into it. And that's just a nod to like the whole existence of the set. Then over that way we have Lego Man Walks on the Moon, which not only is breaking the fourth wall a little bit, but it not only sets like the date, because that means that's probably Neil Armstrong or something, but they probably wouldn't have Lego Man Walks on the Moon if it was like the 19th one. And then Spider-Man Threat or Menace, that's a nod to the comic books where you actually see something that kind of looks, you see a Daily Bugle newspaper that looks a lot like that. But back to the Lego Man Walks on the Moon, that's actually, some people think it's a nod to J. Jonah Jameson, where his son is an astronaut, and we'll get back to that pretty soon when we get on to the last level. But, yeah, that pretty much wraps up the first level. All right, now we are talking about the second level. Now, the second level has so many Easter eggs in it, and I'm going to point every single one of them out to you guys. We'll start over on the side where it showed, I'll probably take them off and show you guys later, but it shows Times Scare, Doc Ock Still at Large, and Spider-Man No More. Originally, Times Scare is in the middle and Doc Ock Still at Large is on the side, but I flipped it around because if you do it that way, it shows Times Scare, Doc Ock Still at Large, and Spider-Man No More. That is actually in the order of the Tobey Maguire line of films, with Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and then when Spider-Man kind of like quits the Spider-Man role. And then after we do that, over here, we have Who is Spider-Man, which is a nod to Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 1, which, and you see like the newspaper kind of like that. And then over here, you see City Power Outage, We Need Electro, which is our first look at a classic Lego Electro, which is pretty cool. Then over here, we have Rhino Escapes from Zoo. Hint, hint, we're going to do something about Rhino in part 3. And then if you go all the way around to the back, this is going to be kind of hard, but it shows Spider-Man Unmasked to newspaper right there. Sorry you can't read it that well, it's just not showing up. But that's just another newspaper that I wanted to point out. I think it has something to do with like Spider-Man #3. But then over here, we have Nelson and Murdoch win big lawsuit, which is a nod to Daredevil, since he is not only a lawyer, but he is Matt Murdock. You can actually see him right there in his little red glasses. And that pretty much covers up all of station #1. Oh. All right, guys, now that we're on level 3, the first thing that I want to point out is that this entire room is actually a nod to a meme, and that is actually our first time Lego has actually nodded to a meme or anything like that. The instructions say to put Peter Parker in there, but we all know that you're supposed to put Spider-Man there, and you even have like the old version of Spider-Man in the back there, the really old telephone, that kind of stuff. And it just looks exactly like that meme, and yeah, it's all over the internet. You can look up like old Spider-Man memes, and you can see a lot, and you'll probably find them in like the first 5 minutes. And now aside from that, if we move over here, we have a newspaper, right here that says The Conspirator, which is a nod to the MCU version of the Daily Bugle, which is more like a conspiracy theory newspaper and news. And then right here we have a pizza box, which is a nod to Pizza Time from the original Spider-Man from the Tobey Maguire line of movies. And then over here we just have some spiders and spiderwebs, obvious nod that Spider-Man, that he's Spider-Man. And some people think that might be the original spider that bit him. I don't think that. But we're going to do something about this part of the room next part in part 3. But then other than that, this is a pretty soundproof level. I love this level, and then that's all the Easter eggs in it. Alright guys, it's time for level number 3, which has Betty Brant and J. Jonah Jameson. And first nod that's just really easy to see, that TV screen right there, same one out here up front. And then over here on Betty Brant's computer, it says missed calls Eddie Brock 99, which is a nod to that in the Tobey Maguire line of films. Betty Brant and Eddie Brock had a relationship. And then over here in J. Jonah Jameson's office, you have a space rock, which can either be a nod to one of two things. It can either be a space rock nodding to J. Jonah Jameson's son, that he's an astronaut that I talked about on the first level, or that's the space rock that Venom came from, and I talked about that in part 1. And then over here it says reward for Spider-Man photos, and that's actually a nod to, on here it says Peter Parker, you're fired, and that's a nod to why he wants rewards for photos of Spider-Man, because he just got rid of his #1 Spider-Man photographer. But something else about that, when it says you're fired, if you look into the Spider Cave set, I don't know exactly what it's called, but on the computer it actually shows from J. Jonah Jameson, you're fired, which is so cool that they brought it all the way from the Daily Bugle all the way onto that set. But what's even cooler is that set came out before this one, which is kind of weird. But that pretty much wraps up the 4th level, so on to the roof. Alright, now it is time for the roof, and right there's only like one Easter egg on here, and it's on the water tower, and right there we have some more Green Goblin graffiti from Goblin Nation in the Superior Spider-Man comics. Again, we really want a Lego Superior Spider-Man Lego. And then over here, you have a little bit of Miles Morales graffiti, which is a nod to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Alright, that covers every single Easter egg. Let's zoom out and I'll give you my final thoughts on this building. Alright guys, I absolutely love Spider-Man. I love the Daily Bugle. This is an awesome set. I love all the little Easter eggs in it. And I can't wait to make it even better next part. But one last thing before I want to leave you guys. I want to tell you guys that next episode, at the very end, I will tell you guys something super cool that I heard about what Lego is making next. And after I tell you, and just so make sure to tune in next episode for 1, that news, and 2, the awesome extra minifigures and extra things that we're going to add to the Daily Bugle next episode. Alright guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.